Let's go!
Hello and welcome to my new video. I have finally participated in my first powerlifting competition. It was last Sunday. I'm still somewhat exhausted, but I think it's time to talk about it and to reflect on the things I did there. First of all, I'm gonna explain what happens in such a competition. I won't discussing specific rules, but just in general. Next, I'm gonna react to my to my own clips. I've cut it the live stream together, and then I'm just gonna react to myself. Then I asked in my Discord if someone has any questions for me to answer in the video. There are actually a couple there, so I'm gonna answer them at the end of the video. So first of all, what exactly is a powerlifting competition? A powerlifting competition consists of three lifts. First is the squat, second the bench press, and the last is the deadlift. You have for every lift 3 attempts to lift the highest number possible, and at the end, all 3 lifts or every valid attempt is being added, and then you have a total number. So, for example, if you squat 200, bench press 100, and deadlift 200, you get a result of 500 kilogram in total. Of course, there are specific rules. For example, the squat, where you have to reach certain depths. You have also to follow some other rules. For the bench press, you have to pause at your chest, and so on. I think this is the topic for a separate video, and to be honest, I'm probably not the best person to explain that. But anyways, this was my first competition. I've clocked in some numbers. The circumstances were somewhat unfortunate due to me catching cold in my last week of preparation, but it is what it is. And now let's see what I have done. Let me quickly change into my reaction setup. All right, here's my reaction setup. First of all, thanks to the guys spotting us. They did a great job preventing us from dying. I think the spotters are like the most important people there, preventing us to die so we can further improve. And also thanks to the guys commenting the streams. Um, I watched it actually, and they did say some nice things. So thank you for commenting. All right, I'm gonna turn down the volume. Starting with the first lift, 215 kilogram on the squat. So the first attempt is usually somewhat light. It should be something you can always complete. Like even if you even if you're deep asleep, you should always be able to complete your opener. Because it's the first lift, you have to be confident, you have to build the confidence. So here you see me unracking, getting into the position. Nope, very clean indeed. So for my second attempt, we choose 225. You see the guy in yellow is my coach. Looks very confident. Here you also see the guys. You can't see them because I'm blocking the stream with my cam. Here they are, bottom right. So this lift is interesting. You're gonna see why just in a moment. Usually, when you unrack the bar and go into position, you get a start signal from the head judge, but somehow it didn't came. In total, I was standing there for like 40 seconds, and the issue was that my torso wasn't upright enough. I didn't know about the rule. I think most people there also didn't know. I tried different things, straightened up my legs, and then I got the signal. Unfortunately, I was very exhausted, and the lift was fucking heavy. And it wasn't valid. So I failed the lift. Very unlucky. Um, the situation broke my back. I had severe pain, but what can you do? It is how it is. Here I'm just retrying the lift. My target was around, I don't know, 240 at least. But we decided to just clock in the number. Okay, now I'm getting a signal. Squatting down and up. It was fine, good attempt, but unfortunately I couldn't go for higher number. Alright, next up is the bench press. I've started with 150. Usually it's a weight I can easily rep for at least 3 reps. Unfortunately, as you have seen, my back was kinda exhausted due to the squat, and I had difficulties building up tension. And you can see it was kinda heavy. It was really heavy and I felt it. Second attempt, 155, going up just 5 kilogram. But in this case, it was more than enough to give me trouble. Setting up, starting, and here you see I was really pushing. It wasn't light. Next up, 160. You have seen me in my videos lifting 160 couple times. Usually there is no trouble at all, but today it was very heavy. Maybe due to my cold I had, or the slight back injury due to my squat attempt. No, just just not strong enough today. Unlucky. Last discipline, the deadlift. 250, usually not a weight I struggle with. We chose something safe to get a good feeling in. Setting up, getting ready. Here I think I was already 5 hours into the competition, because we had 40 people competing in my weight class, and it just took a lot of time. The streamer just talked about me mentioning them, so greetings greetings from the AGE. Second lift 260, also something you have seen me lifting multiple times. Yeah, this gave me at least somewhat a good feeling to at least try it a bit higher. Next one, I went for 275, 5 reps. Here I was at my limit. I was focusing. I was. My coach is telling me some mean things right now. Getting ready. Setting up the belt. Thinking about life. Praying to the deadlift god, which is Eddie Hall. At least something, right? At least something. Alright, let's start with the questions. Let's see what we got here. First of all, do you need to come fresh in the competition? For example, 1 week before the meet, do you train heavy or don't you lift anything at all? Good question. Usually, in the last week before your competition, you drop down the volume to reduce the fatigue you have accumulated during the last 4 to 6 weeks of preparation. There's also some kind of trade-off between getting rid of the fatigue, but not letting go of the peak condition you achieved during your preparation. In my case, I dropped down the volume from 4 sessions to 2. In addition that I got a cold, I dropped down the volume. I did only the minimum work during these 2 workouts, and on the accessories I also skipped most of it to reduce the fatigue. In addition to that, I had to do a water cut to reduce my weight from like 95 to 96 to below 93. So this is also additional stress on the body. Next up, when did you start preparing for the competition specifically? Good question. The competition was planned, I think, 5 to 4 months ago. So I had the perspective way ahead, and specific preparation started around 6 weeks before by decreasing the overall volume and increasing the intensity by going up in weight. All in all, that means less repetitions, but more intensity by coming closer to your 1 rep max. Did you do a bulk or cut prior to it? As I'm pretty comfortable in my weight as of now or before the competition with around 95 to 96, I didn't do either, so I just maintained. Do you warm up before you lift? Yes, you have a warm-up before any discipline. So, for example, on a deadlift, before you start with your first attempt, you usually do some stretching. You start lifting light weights, like first of all the bar, then 70, 120, 170, and so on until you work up to your last warm up. For me, it was 240, and then I started my first attempt with 250. Usually, you warm up before every discipline because competition is somewhat long. This one was especially long because we had 40 people in my weight class. Therefore, I think the total time was like 6.5 hours. So yeah, you have to warm up multiple times. What's the difference between power and strength? Good question. I think it's the same, but I guess the question implies a difference between powerlifting and bodybuilding. I think the application is somewhat similar because more strength means more muscle and more volume. Of course, you have to specialize. In case of bodybuilding, you train for reps and for the muscle feeling, and for powerlifting, you just try to lift more weight. How much does power affect lifting? Well, as I've said, the more power you have, the more you can lift. Pretty straightforward, I guess. Can you still look lean and aesthetic while also being able to lift 500 plus pounds? Well, let me calculate. Um, my max attempt on a squat was exactly 500 pounds. So I lifted 500 pounds in my last squat attempt, and I guess I can get to much more in like in the next couple months. And on a deadlift, I have, and on a deadlift, I have something close around 600. And while saying that, I'm gonna blend in my current physique, which is or actually was recorded after the competition. Yeah, I guess you can if you consider that being lean. Um, I think the more time passes, the leaner I get. So for me, it is possible. For others, it might be not. I think it depends on the person. Next one. How was the atmosphere, the vibe? Was it intimidating, relaxing? Good question. I think the most crucial moment is the first attempt on the squat because it sets your sentiment for the whole competition. That's why I think basically every lifter, um, may it be someone new like me or a guy who's like competing for 10 years, everyone is somewhat nervous before his first attempt on a squat. After that, the tension and the excitement drops from lift to lift, and the concentration sets in. For example, in contrast to the squat, where most of the guys are more excited and nervous, for the deadlift, you have full concentration. Would love to know how you work up and train for one rep max. I think this is a topic for itself. Mm, I promised many things over the last months, but I guess I finally found the motivation to make more videos. So let's do that for next week. Let's talk about how I prepare for competition and how I train in general for powerlifting. Last question. What equipment do you recommend for people that's just starting powerlifting that you must have? Actually, you don't need any equipment, being honest. Equipment just makes your life more bearable, especially in case of powerlifting, where the more weight you lift, the more risk of injury you have. So things like belts, wrist wraps, or knee sleeves are beneficial. You don't have to go for like the expensive SPD versions or more expensive brands. You can also go on Amazon and find cheap ones, like belt for 40 bucks or wrist reps for 20. There isn't that much you need. You will notice that if you train for strength specifically, you will buy equipment in the long term. The more hungry you get, the more performance you want, and the better equipment you get. Simple as that. Okay, this is all we have for today's video. If you are still here, thank you for watching. Join the Discord. If you have any more questions, just comment below or in the Discord. The link is in the description. Don't forget to check out my short section, many memes, good content, and see you next time.